Welcome back to another episode of Books, Bullets, and Babies. I am your host, Dr. Sagashus Livingston, and I am excited, as usual, to be here. This season, as you know, we've been answering the question, can the women we call infamous mothers become millionaires? If so, how, and what does that look like? If not, why? Why not? This episode is looking at the intersection of that question along with the trust gap. How does a trust gap between our audience and financial institutions like banks play into that? Help us answer that question. All right, so before we get into the actual episode, there are two things I need to do. First, I need to thank our sponsors. This episode is being sponsored by American Families Institute for Corporate and Social Impact, as well as the CUNA Mutual Group Foundation. Today, we have the honor of having as our guests Suzanne Johnson and Jeff Mack. All right, so Jeff Mack, who is he? With 15 years of demonstrated award-winning experience in the financial industry, Jeff can provide you with the best business products and services to serve your needs now and well into the future. All right, you all, so that means you all need to go holler at Jeff because he has some products and he's award-winning. All right. As a former University of Wisconsin football team captain and academic All-American, Jeff is a proud supporter of our community. Jeff is a board member for SSM Health, UW Athletics, MADAM, and FCI, Forward Community Investments, as well as program committee member for the Boys and Girls Club of Dane County. All right. Suzanne. Who is Suzanne Johnson? Well, Suzanne, very similar to Jeff, has over 15 years of banking experience and takes pride in working with her business clients, big or small, from start to finish with customized business banking solutions. If there is a way to make a business more efficient through how they bank, Suzanne will make it happen. She is also passionate about giving back to the community and to the importance of supporting local business here in Dane County. Suzanne is a financial literacy council member at the Wisconsin Bankers Association and volunteer at our local school districts and Secure Futures. All right, you all, I am excited. And let's jump into our conversation with Suzanne and Jeff. Jeff and Suzanne, what do you all do? What does a typical work day or work week look like for both of you all?
I'm going first?
You can go first.
So that's a difficult question. Well, first and foremost, I'd like to say thanks so much for the opportunity to be here. Really appreciate
Absolutely.
it. We think the world of you and what you're doing and Infamous Mothers. And so it's a pleasure and an honor for us to be on the show. What do I do? That's a really good question. I am in business development. So really what that means, in essence, is I meet with clients, meet with prospects, and try and figure out opportunities where I can help, and I, meaning Park Bank, I can help bring them to Park Bank and figure out ways to kind of get them from point A to point B, whether it be on the commercial side, mortgage side, banking, depository relationship side, wealth management, and just sometimes just a conversation, right? I think everything starts with a conversation, and so the goal is to try and connect with someone to make sure that they know that I'm trying to provide them the best service I can, and I have their interests at heart and interests at mind to make sure that I can help them get from where they're at to where they're trying to go. And so I kind of am in a number of different spaces at the bank, but I'm still, my primary focus is just on client relationship and growth. So I hope that's a whole bunch of nothing, I feel like, but I try and do a lot of nothing really well.
That was a lot.
That's a whole lot of something.
Yeah.
All right. Suzanne.
Yes, again, thank you, Sagashus, for having us on. Super excited to be a part of your podcast today. I would say that it took me a minute to kind of think about what I do. In addition to helping clients, so yes, I support on the business side with clients and what their needs are, but primarily I focus on the management of the physical locations that you see. So we have 9 locations across Dane County. So from entry level to experienced managers, I work directly with the teams that are in the branches. And then it's more so of the client experience. What does that look like? Because in the branches, we see approximately 25,000 transactions. just from a transactional standpoint, but also when it comes to opening accounts, what is that experience like? What are our clients saying? What are the needs? Are we actually working to uncover what that looks like? I would say in addition to the management side, I also support the leadership development opportunities within the retail network as well too, with Park Bank, in addition to supporting the business side, the community side, or any other direction that I'm pulled in.
I forgot to tell. You know what? I was speaking of the boss. I forgot to tell folks that we have two bosses here. We have vice presidents. Like, these are not like your average run of the mill folk. Like, these are vice presidents.
But there's one. There's one person that actually runs the show.
It's him. It's Jeff.
You get an email from Suzanne, you better respond.
No, stop.
There are problems.
You know what? Every time I sit down with you, I can never figure it out because both of you all points the finger at each other.
We do. He's the boss.
Yeah. No, it's funny.
We're a good team.
We
work together.
We work, and then actually, we now have offices right next to each other, so
yes.
it's even more fun.
Yes. I can imagine.
Right.
All right, so here's another question. What's the difference between a community bank and a national bank? Which one is Park Bank, and why does this matter?
I'll let you go. You take that one.
Oh, I think there's a lot of differences, at least just in my own experience. I think the engagement in the community is different. Being in a community space, I feel like so many areas within the community space has a good pulse on what's happening. Associates are engaged to be a part of the community and bring opportunities to the table where we can be supporting. And I guess probably for me, one of the biggest differences, instead of referencing like, oh, it has to go through corporate, in a sense, it almost doesn't. That's not really our language.
Okay.
In a community space. It's more of, I have to talk to a Jeff or an Adam or a Jim, versus like it has to go through a corporate process that you might hear from a larger institution.
Okay.
Yeah, I would, and to answer the other question, we are a community bank, so a park. So we are, we're based out of Park. Our first location was Park Street, so on the south side, and then we grew it to nine, right? 9, yeah. 9 locations now, but we are solely based in Dane County. Okay. So there is no the definition of community is like we actually are just Dane County. So there is no Park Bank in Illinois and Michigan or anything like that. There tends to be I would say a leaning towards, and this doesn't take away from a national bank. The national banks, though, and I think Suzanne hit it on the head. There's a corporate process that they have to go through because it's just so big. Like you have to have processes. Whereas we're a little more nimble, so we should be able to move and navigate the way the world or the way people have to navigate, right? Like you have a lane, you're trying to stay on this lane, and something deviates or something takes you off of it. How do you handle that? Normally, you can call your bank, and hopefully we can help assist and make a change and kind of be nimble with you. Whereas sometimes large institutions don't have the ability to do that just because of the systems in place that they have. And we, Suzanne and I both came from larger institutions. So we're speaking from like real knowledge and real understanding of it because we were part of it. So there are times when like just clients come in and say, hey, this happened, can we change something? It's just extremely difficult to do that at a larger bank. A smaller, more community-based bank should have a little more flexibility to do so.
Okay.
Yeah, I just want to add on that. I remember coming here and, I'd come across a situation or a need, and I'm like, we can't do that, right? And I'm like, we can look at it. I'm like, we can?
Yeah, right.
Usually it would be like, because, it was so structured, if it didn't check a certain box, it was off the table. Yeah. But here it was like, well, let's look at it. Let's see what our options are. Right. So.
Right.
Well, that's actually good to hear.
Right? Yeah. I think, community banks, there should be a, and I don't want to speak bad about larger banks, but I would say for community banks, there should be more of a focus or leaning towards the client experience.
Yes.
Whereas a national bank should be more about processes, and the positive of a national bank, I guess I would say, is there should be. It's more if you fit the transaction or the parameters of the transaction, it should be really easy and smooth because they just have, here's the process, square peg, square hole, here, you're fine, you're good, just move forward. But the problem is, like, not a lot of times people don't just fit, you know, a square peg or square hole. So that's where I think a community bank can really be beneficial.
Okay. What role do you think banks play in helping to create wealth in our society?
I think they're the major cog in that wheel. Right? I think that is how wealth is created, is through leverage and through lending, through using, you know, other people's money to get yourself ahead and get yourself into an opportunity or an investment that can grow for you based on your due diligence, and using the bank's money, paying the interest to get, you know, to kind of get you into a deal or into a building or into or starting up your business. Those things are the core of what business. I wouldn't say core. It's a extreme advantage to be able to utilize funding and utilize money from a bank to get you to your goal. Whether it be buying a building, buying a house, buying getting a loan for your business to start, you know, buying the cars or material that you need to start your business. Banks are normally kind of the catalyst for that. And if you can use that and you can kind of really create a great relationship and keep building that, it can be the difference between generational wealth and a paycheck. You know. So yeah, I mean, I think banks play a large, I would say a majority role in the wealth creation.
Yeah, and I think Jeff really spoke to some really core things that are there and very high level. And I think of even down to you coming in and that experience of starting a relationship with the bank. What is that? What are we doing to help identify the needs, or to give someone that confidence or courage to say, hey, you're at this spot, you should be talking to this lender here, so that we are actually building that wealth versus just coming in, here you go, you ask for checking, here you go. Are we really asking the questions to uncover what the financial goals are, the needs are, and creating the experience to where people are comfortable to have that conversation, because I feel like finances are so personal. Yes. So do we have the skill set and ability to really relate and be genuine and support people with getting to that next step within their financial goals?
You see how her questions, how her answers are more pinpoint and precise?
No. I see how your questions balance each other. No. I see how your questions balance each other. Yeah.
See how she balances me?
Let's be honest. You gave the high level. I'm just, the baton passer here.
How is Park Bank looking to close the trust gap between its financial institution and people of color?
That's a good question.
Definitely thought of you with this one, Jeff.
Okay. All right. First and foremost,
he and I have we've had some conversations about this.
So thank you for that, because I mean, I that was a great conversation we had on that, and I appreciate that. But what I would say is, I think it starts with a conversation. It starts with a connection. It starts with a feeling of comfort, and I think I think it always has to be, you have to meet people where they're at. And I don't mean that in and I feel like sometimes there's like a negative connotation in that. And it's not that at all. It's, we need to be comfortable with each other to where you feel comfortable enough with me to be like, let me tell you my story. And then I need to be comfortable enough to understand that I see value in that story and I see value in you. And I think where banks have made bad decisions or poor choices have been in trying to assess someone as soon as they come in the room and figure out the time, like how much time do I need, like based on my schedule, like I don't have enough time to be able to sit down and really cultivate this relationship, right? And I don't know if they're really going to be able to do what they want to do anyway. And everybody makes these kind of like, snap decisions as to like, okay, is this deal going to be a good deal or not? If you have a meeting with, I'm speaking frankly here. So like, if you have a meeting with a doctor, you're like, okay, this is going to be a good meeting. I gotta be my best. And if you have a meeting with a CEO, okay, I know I got to do this. If I have a meeting with a teacher, well, it's like, okay, all right, it's going to be a good meeting, but I know they have a job, yada yada. Or if I have now, but like, let's say it's like I have a meeting with somebody that's unconventional, right? That's not just has a regular day job, or not this or not that, or the picture doesn't present itself as the standard, right? Well, then it's like, okay, how am I going to kind of navigate this conversation? And I don't have any comfort. I don't have any knowledge base of understanding who this person is or what that experience may even be like. And I think where I would say we definitely have a I guess a value add in this space is in the sense of we know those individuals. We have friends, we have family members, we have, old buddies, partners of ours that are unconventional. And so we see value in that, right? And I think when you see value in someone, when you see value in somebody that is unconventional, you know how important it is to be present and to be there in that conversation, right? And so it means the world to me to be able to see people across the table that look like me, that speak like me, come in and want to connect and want to figure out how do they get ahead in the banking world, or how do they utilize banks to benefit their generational wealth. And it's up to me, I think, being in that meeting, it's up to me to make sure that they feel comfortable and they feel confident in who they are, and they can speak their truth, and then I can speak mine. And then we can meet somewhere and we can figure out how to build from there. I think what can tend to happen is if you make assumptions, if you don't believe in the time commitment that you need to have for any new client, you start off on the wrong foot. And I think that's where banks tend to make a misstep.
That's one thing I have noticed about Park Bank. You all definitely make time, and you all treat clients with there's a lot of dignity, a lot of respect, a lot of interest.
Yeah.
And that is one of the reasons why it was important for me to have you all in this podcast, because I think that experience, I don't know if other people who are listening, if that's their experience with banks, but that has been my experience with you all, and that has been my experience with other people who bank with you all. So, good. Do you want to add to that, Suzanne?
Thank you. First off, that means so much to hear that from you and what your experience has been, and it's expected that all our clients should feel that way. In particular, our communities of color. I think even what Jeff said, because I'm like the human side of it, our associates that work in Park Bank should be able to feel the same way. Of are they feeling developed? Do they have a voice? Are they empowered? Because we start there, right? So if you have your Black associates, your Black and Brown associates who do have a voice, and they're able to speak from their own experiences and what they think would also help us, that's where we start. I feel like if you have people of color that are in the banking space but don't have a voice, how are we solving? Are we really doing the work there? And I think the other thing that we're doing is the educational piece. I feel like it has to happen from ground up, because how are we fixing what we're not acknowledging?
Yes.
How are we all working towards the same direction if we're not really saying, hey, this is why we're focusing on this. This is why we have this initiative. So I would say those are just the two things I would add to what Jeff is saying.
The last point I guess I would say is, I think the other piece is like, what you're hearing is Suzanne being here, she actually is the leader of the forward-facing or the client-facing individuals in our bank. So when you have leadership that believes how she believes and believes in all of our community.
Mm-hmm.
That permeates throughout our team.
Yes.
Right? And so now our team understands that that's a high priority.
Yes.
Right? So that's a piece too. And like, you have to have leadership, and it can't just be lip service. It can't just be for show. Like, she actually, I mean, when I say it, like, me, she actually runs our branches. So if there is issues of client engagement not being the way with which she wants it to be, that gets rectified and gets handled really quickly and efficiently. And when there are clients who do things that are, if there's some type of racial undertone, if there's a issue of feeling uncomfortable or somebody saying something disrespectful to one of our associates, that gets nipped in the bud really quickly, and she's the first one to the battle, right?
Yes.
So that shows leadership, that shows character, that shows just humanity, right?
Yes.
And I think when you have leadership in that space, and that even flows even higher to our president.
Yes.
He's not. I was gonna curse.
It's okay.
He's not with the.
It's okay. You can curse on this.
But he's not like hey, like, if Suzanne feels like something has happened that is not okay, he's the first one that's riding with her.
Yes.
So.
But I think that goes back to just even the voices that you have, Jeff, right? Of the accessibility of being able to walk in your president and CEO's office to say, hey, here's what I'm hearing, here's what I'm thinking. Like, that's, I don't know, I would say a differentiator at Park Bank, how we operate. And how important this is. I think of, in my past banking experience, I didn't have a lot of peers that look like me.
Yes.
So I would say that this is one of my first experiences having Jeff that is also a VP, but we also get to collaborate, support each other, strategize, and that's so important. So how do we make sure that other associates feel the same way?
Yes. I love you all's rapport. All right, you all. So here's a tough question. And this question...
It's for Suzanne.
This is for Jeff.
And the reason why this is... So it's tough, but the reason why I asked this question is because the question is really designed to help our audience think about how banks are thinking about ways in which women can grow wealth. Mm-hmm. And so this question is, we know that 2% of all millionaires are women. How is Park Bank helping to increase that number? So how is Park Bank intentionally thinking about increasing the wealth, helping women increase their wealth? Is really what this question is asking. I think one way that I can say Park Bank is helping me, for one, Suzanne's presence is really helpful for me, right? When I went to you all's website and I saw a Black woman in this role, it made me trust this bank a whole lot more, right?
Wow.
I think another way that it's been helping me is the fact that I can call Jeff and I'm like, Jeff, I need help with this. Can you help me understand? I don't understand this. And you don't treat me like, oh, you're so small. You're this single mom with all these kids and all these different daddies. I don't have time for you because you don't fit the profile. Wow. Because you don't treat me that way, I lean in more. And I'm able to really, I don't have to operate with the level of fear that I've been operating with, because I realize that I have connections that can guide me, lead me, point me in a direction. I realize that I can, we come up with strategies. You teach me how to do things. You help me think about numbers. Suzanne and I have had conversations about women and wealth. So in those ways, I think you all are putting me on a path to increasing my dollars, because now I'm having conversations in spaces that I historically have shied away from.
Wow.
Thank you for answering. That was my answer. You just took my answer. So, no. I mean, I would say, again, I know I sound like a broken record, but it all starts with the conversation, right? So it all starts with us it all starts with the person on whatever side of the table believing in the other person. Right?
Yes.
So I have to, just the I don't know, they're not gender norms, but like whatever it's called, like the idea that I have 4 daughters, right? So my mindset is around making sure that they're not following just whatever the societal path of what it means or what it used to mean to be a woman, right? And I could get in trouble by even saying that, but like, because I don't know what I really mean by that, but and I don't want to go into what I think I mean by that, but just following a path of understanding that like you can be outside whatever box you think, right? So
that's a much safer response.
Yeah, right. Thank you. But just like something simple was like my daughters are sometimes they're like they don't want to do math. They don't want to be good at math because all the boys are in math and like none of my friends are in math. And it's like that's super dope. If you can be great, like, I mean, you can be great in math and you can still be great in all the other things that all your friends are in. But like now you get a chance to meet different people, be a part of something different, understand something that dad likes a lot. Like, like trying to change their framework and thinking on how, on what those norms or why those norms are even there, or if those norms can be broken and why they should be broken, right? And so, again, going back to your question, sorry, I kind of jumped off it, it's a little bit about trying to understand that wealth, everybody wants wealth. Now, there's a different conversation about is wealth actually good, but that's a different conversation, right? But like everybody wants to be comfortable and to be able to do the things they want to do in life. And I think that's what we need to, that's the starting point. And then, we at Park, we kind of, our whole focus is on achievement. And it's all about, helping someone from start to finish and getting them to their goals and getting them to where they want to be. And it always starts with a conversation. It starts with a discussion about what does success look like for you? And then let's start from there. And let's see where we go from there. And then it's always about, and I always say it's the onus is on us as the banker, as the banker, to make sure that you feel comfortable to be able to fully and truly express yourself and express your goals. And then it's up to me to figure out how to help assess and get you to that point. But it all starts with the banker having to believe in the client.
Yes.
And I would say I think we have a solid group of individuals who believe in their clients.
Yes.
And who believe in the goals of achievement for all of our clients, not just for the clients that they deem easier to work with. Right? You know what I mean? Like just being honest, right? So, I mean, that's what I would say is I think what we're trying to do is we understand and we see value in all. We're growing, we're becoming better and better at it. You know what I mean? Because again, like,
Thank you
like
for
we're
that.
not, we ain't there yet. You know what I mean? But I think we're getting better at it, and I think we're trying to, and I think a lot of it is due to what the makeup of our executive team looks like. You know what I mean? Like we have an executive team that I think that I would say probably is more diverse than any, visually is probably more diverse than any bank I've ever seen.
Okay.
I've been around, so I mean, I think that helps because that brings more perspective.
Yes.
That brings more opinions.
Yes.
That should be discussed at a table, right? Because that table, the proverbial, the seat at the table, I mean, I would say we have a solid group of individuals at that table that speak with a different lens. Okay. And I think that makes people have to reassess their biases, opinions, thoughts on what a good client looks like.
And you two are people to speak up. So I can imagine what those conversations are.
Yeah. And I think adding to Jeff's comments, yes, we have a good, absolutely amazing people that we work with and a good team, and there is some diversity. I would tell you, though, we still have goals to be more diverse from the senior level and the board representation level. So that is something that, we do openly discuss. I'm just going back to your comments, Sagashus, about the comfort level and just feeling comfortable to call Jeff, or you see someone that looks like you online. And I always put it, I think of even the health, when you go into a doctor's office, there are sometimes things that you don't want to say because you're like, ooh, I don't want to say everything. Right. But when you do work with someone that you trust, now you're telling them everything that's going on. Yes. And in the long term, you're going to have a better roadmap to get you where you're going. But we need to do the same thing in the banking industry of how do we make sure that people are completely open to telling us what's going on so that the roadmap is personalized to that person's needs. Right. And I think about that of if you think about your best friend or someone that you really value talking to, chances are they know everything about you. They know when to tell you oh, come back, you're tripping a little bit, or you should work on this, or yes, you're right. It's how do you build that relationship with your banker so that you're actually getting the support you need.
I remember my mentor in banking told me two things. The people you need to be 100% honest with is your lawyer and your banker. So
and doctor. No.
Oh, yeah. I mean, doctor. Oh, yeah, that's true. You gotta be, yeah, you should be really. Sorry. Yes.
No. You're. I was gonna say, when you talk about going to the website, what helped me with you also, Suzanne, is that you had braids on the website, and I'm like, wait, that was a big deal for me, right? It was a big deal for me because. Well, for one, we know there's all of this national discussion about, what is professional hair in a workplace, right? And so for you to be able to show up with braids as a Black woman, as a vice president at a financial institution that's normally seen as conservative, that was a big deal for me.
For sure.
All right, so I have a couple more questions for you all. Jeff kind of touched on this one. So we serve mothers. Our clients and members are women who mother outside of the lines. They are ambitious. They're smart. They're go-getters. They're problem solvers. And they often do not have traditional family structures. So that means they often do not have the support that comes with having a traditional family structure. So how is it that how does Park Bank make room for these entrepreneurs who are considered untraditional, and that do not fit into those square pegs? So we talked about people of color. Now I want to talk specifically about women and mothers. Woman like me shows up because we had a woman on this season. We have a woman who has 6 children. She wrote a book and she's just blowing up, right? She's a single mom. So these women are everywhere, and people rarely understand or see them when they think about the face of entrepreneurial success. Mm-hmm. How is it that Park Bank how are you all making rooms for these kind of women?
I don't. For me, it's just a belief that if I take a meeting, I always think where there's a will, there's a way.
Yes.
I always believe there's an opportunity that we can figure it out. So my whole plan is, in any meeting, it's okay, where's the light? Right? Where can I navigate this? Because I believe in that person, I want that person to succeed. If I'm looking at you as a scheduled meeting, and you're just a time limit, you know what I mean? Then we're not going to get anywhere. Yes. So I have to. It comes from the banker. The banker has to believe in the individual that's across the table. So I will always believe in that person because I know somebody, or I have a great relationship with you. I know people that are close to me that are in that situation.
Yes.
So I don't think they don't have value. I don't think you don't have value. So we segment and we prioritize and we silo clients all the time. But my silos all have value. Mm-hmm. So And I would say through leadership, right? If I believe I'm a leader in the bank in some way, shape, fashion, or form, if I can do it, I'm damn sure the associate vice president or associate should better be able to do it.
Yes. Yes.
Because I'm leading by example, right?
Yes.
So I think that's where we are trying to help change that thought process or that framework, and that's what we do. Like, I believe wholeheartedly in anyone who's trying to get ahead.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if they're trying to get ahead, like, what you mean? Like, of course we're gonna try and figure out how we're gonna. I mean, like, we're in it. Like, let's try and figure it out. You know.
That really is your approach. Your approach is we're in it.
Yeah.
And
right.
you are. If there's a will,
sure.
there's a way.
Yeah.
Right. And so even
100.
if I've seen that with other women, I know several women that you work with that I know. Because we sit in our corners and we talk about it, and that is really your approach. Yeah, that is really your approach. You're like, what we doing? Let's do it, right? And many of us are unconventional in that sense, right? And none of us have had a conversation where we're like, yeah, Jeff is in there being all patriarchal and making us feel like. So even if you're struggling through this, that is not your presentation in real life, right? Like, you're in it like, so what we doing? Yeah. All right, so let's figure out how we're gonna get there, right? That's exactly how it is, right? You and your like pants and those socks and a little, Suzanne, you want to add to that? So the question is, how is it that you all are helping women who do not have conventional family structures? Because we know that's a part of wealth, right? If you're trying to pursue this goal, this financial goal, we are often told that you have to have a partner that's supportive and who offsets your income while you're doing this, right? Mm-hmm. If you don't have that, how is it that this institution is kind of still finding value or seeing the effort of this woman who may not have the traditional support that suggests that she will be successful?
I'll say two things, but they're probably the same. But I think talking to people like you, Sagashus, who this is what you do. You're hearing the feedback from, you said untraditional?
Yes.
Unconventional.
Yes.
You're hearing that. So we could be thinking that we're solving for it, but not really understanding what the issues are. And I think it's important to understand what other spaces are we in that are considered unconventional and not like past the surface, right? So how do we get involved? How do we fully understand what the needs are, what the feedback is, so that we can take that back or pull in different people into those conversations to support. So I guess that's part of it, is talking to individuals like you who are leading in those areas. But then also from a community perspective, like, do we actually have the pulse in our community?
Yes.
Are we doing it to fully understand it from the heart versus just to mark off, hey, I got my community service, but what other ways can we fully be involved to understand the needs? I think it's important.
All right.
Let me just say two things really quick. Two more things. So one thing I always want to make sure that I feel is what was eye-opening for me as I kind of grew into banking. The more two things. Some of the wealthiest clients that I've been around, been a part of, helped, whatever, they've come from unconventional backgrounds. They got fired. They had a divorce. They, kind of grew up from nothing, or in their mind, the proverbial nothing, right? Like, and they've had to grind, and they've had to try and talk their way through things. Like, so what I always want people to know, and I would say for your for infamous mothers, is like, it's not that different than anybody who has made it. Mm-hmm. There are some differences, right? But you know what I'm saying? Yes. Like at the core of it, somebody's felt like they're the only ones going through a situation. They're at a disadvantage. How do I do this?
Yes.
And some banker said, let's do this together.
Yes.
So why not me, right?
Yes.
Or why not Suzanne? Or why not any of our DJ or any of our other bankers, right? The other thing I guess I would say is, so when I was young and I was kind of coming up in banking and I was trying to get in it, adapt, whatever. I was trying to come in banking on the real estate side, and I kick it with I'd hang out with these older real estate guys, and I'm trying to learn. You sit in these meetings and you think like these guys must have like they must be all like Rain Man, right? Like they know all the numbers, like they got this. They can pull out. They understand internal rate of returns and stuff like that so fast, right? You sit with them. I remember hanging out with them, and I'm like, oh, these guys they're not Rain Man. They're just regular dudes. So like once you break the veil or the glass, I don't know what the right term is, but like once you break that seal of like, once you get over and you see these people that are millionaires or extremely wealthy, like, and you find out they're just regular people, it gives you a confidence that like, oh, I can do this.
Yes.
And I think what we have in our community, we have this very segregated community from a generational wealth or from a financial perspective, like a socioeconomic perspective, where the proverbial have-nots don't know any haves, so they make assumptions on what the haves, and then the haves don't know any have-nots, and they make assumptions on the have-nots. So now what you have is like, oh, well, they just got it easy because this, and this. When like if they just got a chance to talk to them, they see like, oh, I can do that.
Yes.
I was there, and he would be like, oh no, man, all you gotta do is just look left.
Yeah. Like
stop looking right. Like just look left, or come on with me. You know. And I think that's the bridge you hope your banker can help you with, and not just your banker. You just hope somebody helps you.
Yes.
And that's where like I feel like I can fit in, right? Like I can help in that space because I think there's always just lack of communication. Again, like I said, it starts with a conversation. The lack of communication is what creates these barriers to success sometimes. And I think we have to get out of this cycle of these people are bad or these people are bad because, oh gosh, I sound like a Saturday morning cartoon. Because we're all humans. So, like, you know what I mean? But like we're straight up. It's the same. I mean, I'm telling you, man, like you talk to this person or you talk to proverbial have not, you talk to the proverbial have, and you say like, hey, how'd you start? It's real close to this person.
Yes.
Most of the time.
Yeah. Well, first of all, Jeff, good comeback. I'm very proud of you for that.
You did explain that in very simplified terms, but also like achievable. No, I'm serious. The way I think that's it right there. Yeah. Like there's this fear of like, oh, I'm not going to be able to do it, or oh, I'm going to feel the perception, right? Yeah. But the way that you just explained it was just you made it very simple.
You did make it very simple. Yeah, you did.
Like impossible, Jeff.
Yeah.
So it was good.
Yeah.
Well, I could tell you one of the reasons why we talk about women becoming millionaires, and our women in particular, is because of this one main point. For every $46,000 that a black woman raises in capital for her business, a white man is raising $1 million. So if we can't imagine the women that our audience as millionaires, how is it going to be possible for us to imagine them raising $1 million, right? So it's not for us. It's not about necessarily the wealth per se, even though that is part of the conversation. It's more about, and we'll see this in other episodes. If we don't trust the women that we serve with this amount of money, how can we expect them? Not even how can we expect them to raise them? How is it as a community we support them in having that, having that amount of money?
Okay. So here's what I would ask the question of, right?
Okay. Oh snap!
So yeah, right. So I have not. It's not a pushback. It's a discussion of that statistic.
Yes.
It goes to network. And what I mean by network is not like who the white guy's friends are, right?
Right.
It goes to his family structure, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it goes to this not weird, but it goes to the space of like your value, the infamous mother's value, is also largely a part of her kids.
Yes.
As being, she's the breadwinner, She's the matriarch. She's the raiser of those children. So there's a value, a time value that she has to place.
Yes.
To the children. That white male might have a wife that's raising his kids, or their kids. Sorry, their kids, and so he can focus.
Yes.
And again, it's a time value, or time thing, or whatever, right? Like, he can focus his time, energy, effort on just raising funds.
Yes.
So he can go out, go drink, go meet with these guys, go have dinner, go, be on calls, fly to wherever. He can do that, right? But the mother has to still watch, manage, put time, energy, and effort, because we all know, we all have kids. Like, my value has to be in my children.
Except, Jeff,
okay,
when we talk about that statistic,
yep,
we don't know if that woman's a mother, because we don't. All we know is she's a black woman.
Oh, we're talking about black women.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, okay. I'm
so
sorry.
there's very little information on black mothers and wealth. It's black women and wealth, right?
Got
and
it.
So that woman, who we often assume is a black woman with no children, who's unmarried, who's graduated from Harvard.
Really?
Yes.
That's the assumption.
That's all. That's usually the assumption. She is, when we think about women entrepreneurs, that is usually the face that's associated with her, right? Maybe she's in tech. Right. And so imagine the women we're talking about, maybe even bringing in significantly less.
Got it.
So I'm glad you said that, that I can counter with that point.
Yeah. No.
So thank you, Jeff.
Okay. I was under the impression that we were talking about infamous mothers.
No, we don't have. So part of what our work is about is learning more about what's happening with the women that we serve, because there's very little data.
Got it.
Mm. Yeah. Right.
See?
You was about to say something, Suzanne?
No.
All right. So then my questions to you all is two things. These are quick ones. First, for those of us who avoid institutions like yours because of the trust gap, what is your personal message? Come in and have a conversation.
Yeah, right. I mean, I don't know. I guess let me think on that one.
Okay.
I mean, I'll answer this as best I can. I can speak for myself to say I'm relentless in trying to close that gap. Okay. And I feel like that's a hard one, because sometimes you work really hard and you dedicate everything. You go, I don't know what I really accomplish.
Yes. And that's real.
Yeah. But this is a hard one to answer, just in regards to closing the trust gap. I think it's going to just take the consistent dedication and focus. And I don't know if it could just be solved by one way, because I believe that everyone's different. Yes. So, but I do think that it takes a collective. It can't just be Jeff and I. It has to be everyone. Yes. And we have to be the voice of our community and our organization and push things forward. I can speak for myself and many others that I work with that we're relentless, regardless of if the return isn't fast. I think that's the hard part, is getting used to that the return may not solve everything. Yes. But just trusting that your efforts are making an impact, even if it's one person at a time, and what that looks like. So I don't know if I feel like I talked in circles, but I know that I'm speaking from the heart, because I know what that feels like from personal experience as well. Yes. Too. So
yes. So what I got from your words are, the message is, it's a collective, and so it seems almost as if you were answering not for you were speaking less to the women and more to other banks and what's happening inside of those institutions. We as a collective have to work to close this trust gap. Okay.
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't think I can say it better than Suzanne. I think for me, it is who I think I am, right? I think I am a person who is open, who wants to talk to anyone and everyone. I'm saddened by the fact that there is this trust gap. Mm-hmm. Because I believe one of the main reasons I'm in banking is to try and and shrink that.
Yes.
That gap, right? So I think the same. That's why I'm saying I feel like it's the same thing that Suzanne said. Like, our goal is to create representation to make sure that other kids, people of color, see banks as an advocate for them,
yes,
and as a partner.
Yes.
Because that's how. Just being honest, like that's how white folks see banks.
Yes.
Right? Like they see like, oh, that's my partner. That they help me get to where I'm at.
Yes.
We need to see that same. Like we can't keep having this gap, because that's part of the impediment of the wealth of the generational wealth gap. That's now some of that was contrived and structured that way.
Yes.
And from a historical perspective, but I think the problem now is when we're trying to change that, and you're still having pushback.
Yes.
That's where we have to figure out ways to how do you mend that. I have a longer explanation or longer thought on this, and I'll try and keep it short, but it never does. But like sometimes it's not the whole conversation is not what you say, it's how you say it.
Yes.
I think banks have to be better at how we communicate.
Yes.
Not what we communicate.
Okay.
Because I think the how sometimes is, and it sounds like it's not that big of a deal, but I think it really is. I think
yes.
And I can say it because of just examples of, there are certain people that say some things that are extremely poignant to our community, but because of the way with which they say it, because they don't have the connection, right? Like we talk like how we,
yes,
like we can get up, not on camera, but we can talk, and then and then it just feels better.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And if I would ask you, like, if I didn't have, that sounds stupid. If we didn't have the ability to like communicate on that other level,
yes,
would we have a connection like we do?
No, we would not.
Right, and so and this is the thing. This is the thing that bothers. Like, we can't talk about. Like, that's the part we can't talk about, because there's this weird kind of like, oh, so only black people. It's not that, right? Like if I was white.
No, and I've had those relationships with white bankers, other women, right? Yeah. The idea that we're communicating as humans, right, and we can speak a lingo that it's not in long spurts, but there's this moment in a conversation where you're like, you get me, and I get
right?
you,
mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
And that builds trust.
Yes.
Right. And so I think, even though I was joking, I was very serious. What is it? LBVS, laughing but very serious. It really is about come in and have a conversation, because that's what. So in full transparency, you and I met because we were on a board together, mm-hmm. and we were messaging back and forth about being on that board together, about our experience on that board, right? And then I discovered that you were a banker, and then I asked you these questions about, and it led from conversations, right? Yep. And so I think really it is come in and have a conversation.
Yeah. So I should have stuck him out first.
Yes.
I think because you had said, you get me. You guys were talking about that, but I think it's okay to say, I need you to get me.
Yes.
Like to advocate for yourself and to say, here's why, to command that attention.
Yes. Yes. Here is my last question to you all before we roll this die. What is something you wish our women knew about your bank that they may not but should be aware of?
Suzanne. I've been out here.
So like when you're at work and you're like, I wish they knew about this, because if they knew, this would make such a difference.
Oh, I got one.
Jeff, you had on socks today?
I got on socks today. Yeah, I thought, man, I didn't know what was going on. So I didn't know the cameras was out. So I had to act like I was an adult for once.
This is hard to this is hard to answer, and I'm going to do the work answer. But I wish that they knew that you could be 100% open with your finances and know that you're going to get guidance to that next level. Because it's really hard to do that, I feel like. And it takes a lot to have that courage, but it's only going to help you
Yes.
in your financial journey. So just knowing that you can be completely transparent. Yeah. And in fact, if my banker isn't asking me questions, I'm probably nervous, right? Because how do I know that what you're giving me is meant for me?
Yes.
So I think just advocating for yourself too, but at the same time expecting that from your bank.
That's a good answer.
Okay.
And I will also say this. No, but even just if you're maybe thinking about getting into banking and just knowing the support that you have and the development that you could have in the banking and the potential in the banking industry.
Yes.
So I would throw that out there too. We're pretty
right with those two.
Cool.
I really love. So you don't have anything to add, Jack?
No, I'm rocking with that. I said it, but I said it kind of before. I said like who you got to tell the truth to.
Yes.
Who you always got to be open with is your lawyer or your banker.
Yeah. And Suzanne said your doctor.
I just want you to live long.
Right.
So and we understand. We also understand that, if we're honest, that some of these institutions is kind of hard to be honest with them, with certain people in these institutions. So it's about. It's like I've been talking about mental health throughout this whole entire series, and once I found the right mental health provider, I was able to be more open. Yeah. Right. I think it's about, you have to fire some folks. You have to go through some folks until you're like, this is the one that I can, right? And
you can fire some of them other banks.
Yeah.
You don't want, if you don't like, they ain't messing with you. You can come over part, like, it's cool, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's my one little, like, that's my throw in there.
But I think the reason why I think of my own personal experience and our first experience of purchasing a home, and our real estate agent was white. Like I knew him through a past financial, and he was friendly and everything was great. But I had to tell him, like, this is what I'm worried about. I know the history of redlining. I know that some of these conversations still take place, and this is what I'm concerned of. I need for you to understand that where I'm coming from into this conversation. Yes. And I think it's okay to explain that, because from there, then it was like, everything's out. I'm not like holding this huge, that's and then hopefully you have a team. Hopefully you have a team that's like, okay, I hear you. I may not be able to relate completely to you, but respecting and understanding that you told me that, now I'm looking at this from another lens to kind of understand where you're coming from.
But I think, isn't what's tough about that, right, is that that's a difficult conversation, and
is
right, you know what I mean, and so you have to be willing to do that difficult conversation, which I think is tough. And so sometimes if you have the representation, there's that conversation can be easier.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I think that's the kind of the hidden gem or the hidden secret in all of this is that's where representation does matter. Yeah. But it can go bad too if like the person ain't really rocking with you. Like I can go bad too. You know what I'm saying? So
I'm all for just
I don't care about your
yourself.
I don't care about
right. Like you know what I mean. That's
care about your sick baby. Right, I don't care about none of that. Right. I don't care about your struggle with. So, I got here, so you figure it out. Yeah.
But the whole, statistically, I don't even know if that's true or not, but I would say probably statistically, it's with the representation, there's a little bit more of a understanding.
Yeah.
It's like an unspoken. You get it like right away.
That's what I'm
yes.
saying. She knew what I was saying.
Unspoken language.
She knew what I was saying.
You all, this has been really good, and part of the reason what's made this really good is I don't think I will ever see banks the same way after this conversation, right? Because you see the humanity now, right? Mm-hmm. You see the idea that even if where I am right now and the people I'm working with right now, if it's not a good fit, I can go find my version of a Jeff and a Suzanne. Like this is a thing. This is a real thing. And this gives me some guidance on what I should be looking for when I go inside. If I'm not getting this vibe, then I need to go somewhere else, or I need to keep searching until I find it. And I think that's important, because otherwise we'll just deal with it because we feel like we have no other options. Right. And you're saying, no, there are options. Yeah. We have the same way you look for a good doctor, the same way you look for a good attorney, you find the banks that you can do business with. All right. And I think that will serve in closing the trust gap. All right, Suzanne, you got to roll this die. All right.
I don't want that wild card one. Baby, come on, I love babies. What's that?
Personal choice.
Oh,
baby. Oh, what's my biggest regret as a parent? That's hard.
Oh,
Biggest regret as a parent.
I forgot about that one.
I try really hard not to regret the things that I do
In life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I try to learn the lessons from everything.
I'm thinking about my biggest regret as a parent.
I think I don't feel like this is hard. I'm not gonna say it's a regret because it's gotten me to where I am, but I feel like when my kids were younger, that was at the time where I was really running. Like I got promoted and I had like 12 branches, so all the way to Milwaukee, Pewaukee area. And I have an amazing husband who's a dad. He's like a dad. Which he was always there. Yeah. He's absolutely amazing. But he was more so there because he only had to work 4 days a week, 10-hour days. But I feel like a lot of my running kind of, you feel like some of the things I worried about or were focused on were not as significant when you look back to, I probably could have canceled that, or this would have been fine if I would have missed that thing to have been home a little bit more. So I would say that would be maybe. But I feel like now I have a balance, whereas back then when I was younger, it was like, I have to. Like, I want to prove myself.
That part is so important, though. Right, because it's like when we were in Atlanta, Bria was recording, and she would bring all of this stuff with us because she didn't know what she needed and what she didn't need, right? Mm-hmm. And I think when you're venturing out into a new career and you're trying to grow, it's like that. You bring all of this stuff and you're showing up for everything because you don't know what is going to be the thing that's going to make or break your success.
Yes.
And in hindsight, you're like, well, I don't know if I needed to do all of that, right?
I could have called in sick.
Yeah, exactly,
I didn't
right?
even force myself to work.
But you don't know that in the middle.
Yeah.
But in that moment, there's nothing that lets you know that that's going to be that's what the reality is, right?
Yeah.
You're doing what you need to do because you're up against the wall.
For sure.
And so, yeah.
But you know what that taught me? That taught me what to look for in the next person that I worked for. Like someone that does value family, who's going to understand that balance. Yes. So I always go back to understanding the lesson as to why I went through it.
Yes.
So he's giving me
and that's the purpose of that question. The purpose of that question was for you to get right where you are.
Yeah.
It's for you to look back on it, reflect on it, and then kind of come out of it with, and this is what I got from that. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't for you to be like, oh my God.
Yeah.
No,
you know how long it took me to be like, I called into work. I don't feel good though. Like that guilt is so, that for me.
Perfect ass answers, man.
What? I'm a good mom. I am a great.
I shouldn't have had my kids be eating sugar early on. I should have had my kids drinking like protein shakes or something like that. Like drink green,
don't be
like
hating
having more
on my
greens,
answer.
more carrots. I'm out here. You out here with the perfect answer. I'm over here with like, man, my kids should have been eating sugar pops. That's why I don't want to be all these things. But like,
that was a perfect answer.
Right?
But
it's true.
Actually, both of those were good answers.
I got churro frosted flakes at my house right now. Churro frosted flakes. You can't even
Rice
find them
Krispies
joints.
And Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
You got Cinnamon Toast Crunch?
Yep. Always.
We're done.
Stay on deck.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you know what? Okay, this was actually good. You all have really. I think this is gonna
perfect answer. I should have been mad.
Listen,
the whole time when you said.
As a mother, I have thought about that question many times.
Yes.
I have thought about it. Like, I was just. I'm gone for a meeting for a week.
No,
listen. Where I worked at previous, I had to go for a week of training. I'll be gone for my kids for a week.
I know.
All the time.
I know what you're saying.
So as a mom, it's
I see what you're saying. I'm just saying. We're off, right?
You are wait.
Please off.
You off?
Please go off. I thought we was off already.
He just threw my card. I appreciate that.
I'm 100% true. I apologize.
It's 100%.
I thought the card was for.
All right, you all. You know what? We forgot to sign up. All right, you all. So thank you for showing up for another episode of Books, Bullets, and Babies. We will see you next week. And thank you for Jeff Mack and Suzanne Johnson.
Sorry, y'all.
No, we're going to definitely keep some of that too.
Oh my God.
And we want to see
Make sure it's slow motion too, Heather Carr.
Oh, man.
All right, you all, it's time for another disrespectful tidbit. And why do we call it disrespectful? Because we're sharing things that some folks wish we just keep to ourselves. So today's tidbit is kind of personal. One of my favorite stories of all time is Lawrence Hill's Someone Knows My Name. I fell in love with the protagonist, Aminata Diallo. She is smart and rebellious. Like her mom, she catches babies or serves as a young midwife in her village and surrounding area. While I love all of these things about this character, what I especially appreciate is how she values her name and records the names of other people. It took me some time to realize why this endeared me to her, why it mattered to me. But I think it's because so many things in my own life have tried to make me forget who I am, where I come from, and what I stand for. And it is something about being able to declare oneself, to be able to say one's name in the middle of the chaos, the theft, the violence, that is grounding, empowering. Next time you find yourself in a situation that threatens to strip you of your identity, will you consider saying your name as a way of reclaiming you? That is our disrespectful tidbit for today.